All right, so season 8 is almost here, and when this launches, we will be seeing a new remastered version of Sanhok. And the old version, one of my favorite maps ever, will be removed. So for some of you guys, this is going to be great news. A lot of people dislike Sanhok. It seems to be a very polarizing map. You either love it or you hate it. And for a lot of people that love the map, I think it's because it's so action-packed, very chaotic and dense with cover, which to me is a good thing, but for other people, that's not so much a great thing. But the reason why I want to make this video today is because this map kind of single-handedly got me obsessed with PUBG and made me go from just liking this game to loving PUBG and playing it on a daily basis. And if it wasn't for Sanhok, I probably wouldn't be streaming on a daily basis. So I want to pay tribute to this map and just talk about it and reminisce on the old times. So I'm not sure if I'm going to be playing just some clips in this footage of the background of the video or just a gameplay here. Over the course of time, I've deleted so much footage, it takes up so much space. I have external hard drives, but I've taken up terabytes and terabytes of space making videos and recording footage. And I'm sure any of you guys or gals that record your footage out there know exactly what I'm talking about. But anyways, I've deleted, it looks like, unfortunately, to my knowledge, I didn't know this, so much of my Sanhok gameplay. So I don't have a ton to share that's in great HD footage, but hopefully we can find some or maybe get some new gameplay before this ends. But the reason why I want to talk about this map is because when I first started playing PUBG, it was around March or April of 2018. And it launched on console in December 2017. So it was about 3 or 4 months after. And when I saw the footage on PC, I was really interested in playing this game. But then I got obsessed with Call of Duty. And I was playing Call of Duty World War II, whatever game that was that year. And then eventually my friends got me to play PUBG, and I really liked the game, but it was a struggle. I was playing on the OG Xbox, which I think still even struggles to this day a little bit. The graphics weren't great, and at that point it was still very much in game preview. The movement was bad. There's so many features that haven't been added into the game yet, but I would still play with my friends pretty much weekly. It became our new game that we played, but I wouldn't say that I loved the game. I was just getting really into it. I was liking it and having fun. And in the summer, I started to stream the game a little bit here or there. And I had always been streaming on and off and creating YouTube content for a very long time, but never something like on a daily basis or something very regimented or with a serious goal. But then, it was kind of sparking my interest a little bit, streaming it. But then I found out that mostly when I played with my friends, it'd be squads. I enjoyed it, but playing solos, I found to be sometimes a little bit boring because there's a lot of downtime. I mean, that's what makes PUBG such a great streaming game, because there's so much time to chat. But on the bigger maps can be a little bit boring depending on what's going on. I mean, you might have just a lot of time to talk and you can make that entertaining, but action-wise, it might be a little bit boring because you might not see an enemy for an extended period of time. So then I tried solo streaming by myself and found it to be a little odd at first. And then when I saw information at the end of the summer that Sanhok was coming out, it was going to be a little bit of a smaller map. It seemed a little bit more action-packed. I was getting very excited for the launch of this and decided that when it launched on September 4th, I think is when it did, that I would start daily streaming this game. And when it did come out, it was the featured map, so you could play it over and over and over again. And that's what I ended up doing. So for the few people that were watching back then, that may be still watching now, you probably remember those days of me playing this map over and over and over again. And some people enjoyed it because, it was a lot of action. But other people would write, are you ever going to play the other maps again? Why don't you play Erangel? But I just got so addicted to playing Sanhok, and it really fit my play style, having played Call of Duty so much growing up and the really fast-paced action, combined with the intensity of Battle Royale, where you don't want to die, and the realism of PUBG, where the gun control and everything is so difficult. It was like the perfect balance to me and harmony of strategy, survival, and action. And the fact that you didn't really have to worry about loot. Sanhok had the best loot at the time, and I think it still probably does have some of the best loot. And I just always enjoyed that. And then playing so much Sanhok actually made me start to appreciate the game in the other ways. Because at first, I just didn't appreciate the survival aspect of the game. I just wanted action, action, and action. Especially, like I said, repeating myself, coming over from Call of Duty. That's all I wanted to do was shoot. And back then, there wasn't TDM or any of those things. Nowadays, if all I want to do is attack people and not play strategically or for survival, I'll just go play TDM so my game doesn't suffer, because sometimes you just want to do that in a game. And in this case, now there's a solution for that. But Sanhok was my solution for that for a long time. But like I was saying, eventually after playing so much Sanhok, I started to appreciate the game and its core values and started to get better at the game. so that when I went back and played on Erangel, I appreciated the downtime a little bit more. I was also better at the game, so I could survive longer. I ended up winning more. And when I went to check out my stats after the season Sanhok came into the game, my win percentage, my average kills, my KD, all that stuff was way higher. And some of that makes sense because you're just going to run into more people on Sanhok, like I said. But a lot of that was because my skill made probably the biggest jump in that time, because I was able to play so many more games and get so much more experience. And it's kind of hard to explain why and how it made me appreciate the game so much more, but it really did. And then playing the game on a daily basis got me more involved with the game, and then things kind of just took off from there. So it's really crazy to think back that is kind of the day I put my official start date to streaming, is when Sanhok was released. Even though, like I said, for years, I always tell people in the stream, I've been making YouTube content since I was in high school 15 years ago. I have been streaming randomly for many, many years. I mean, I made this Twitch account back in 2013, but even before that, I had other Twitch accounts, and I had an account on Justin.tv, which was the service before Twitch. So my history of this stuff goes back forever. You know, I was capturing Halo gameplay when I was 13, 14, 15 years old with, you know, rudimentary capture devices back then that they had. And like I was telling people on the stream, and putting footage and Halo montage on CDs and bringing them to school. I've been involved with this stuff forever. But when people ask me, you know, when did you start streaming, I usually point back to that time frame. And what a way to look back at the game. And, you know, thinking back to Sanhok, I don't know, it's just crazy, because really, if it never added this map, I just don't know if I would have played as much. I mean, you never know what the future would have had in store for me, but this really changed it and made it where I could play by myself and have a lot of fun. And what's crazy is when Sanhok first came out, it was interesting because it seemed like everybody kind of loved the map at first. Obviously, there's always hype for a new season, and it was also the first season that had a Survivor Pass, but the overall opinion seemed to be really great. And then over time, it seemed that it kind of went in the other direction, and everybody started to hate Sanhok. And then over more time, it started to even out, and then it just seemed to be a polarizing map where it was either you hated it or you loved it. And I never really understood how that happened. I think maybe it just happened over time because people started struggling with the map, getting killed by snakes, people hiding in bushes. But for me, I think I was talking about this a little earlier in the video, that always enabled me at least to feel like I could maneuver better than any of the other maps. So when you're playing on Erangel, you know, there's some trees and some bushes and rocks, but there's a lot of open area. And as you get better, you realize you got to use smokes to your advantage to maneuver forward or press forward. But on Sanhok, there were so many good hills and trees and dense cover that I feel like you could always kind of rotate in the jungle and get into certain situations. And for me, even though close quarter combat is difficult on console with the thumbsticks, I always have enjoyed that part of the game, playing aggressive, running up close to enemies, rather than staying far back and sniping. That's just always been my playstyle, and I like those chaotic moments where you're frantically looking left and right, the circle's closing in, you're kind of on the outskirts of the map running around. And to me, Sanhok always had the best form of that chaotic, intense, frantic gameplay. And as long as you check the bushes and behind all the rocks, you could most often try to prevent getting caught out. But, you know, obviously that happens all the time on Sanhok and in PUBG in general. It's impossible to avoid getting killed randomly by a player. And Sanhok, I guess, admittedly, is probably the worst for that. So I get why people don't like that. But like I said, for me, it was the perfect balance of all that stuff. But after playing the game in ranked, I forget if I talked about this yet, I have come to realize some of the flaws with the game, especially playing with a full squad and a lot of good teams that are playing competitively with ranked, is that the split of the map with the boot camp, the rocks near boot camp, the limited bridges, the rivers that go through the map, the way that the map is split into 3 islands, which I thought was really cool, can make it very difficult for map rotations. And some people, you know, may argue that it should be that way. It should always kind of be a little bit of RNG, what side of the map you land on. But really, when you're playing competitive, there's so much randomness that you should have an ability to at least make it into the circle if you play smart. And sometimes on PUBG, sometimes on Sanhok, it seems like even if you're playing super smart and strategically, there's just no good option. Like you're stuck in between a rock and a hard place, or you're going to often be pinched between teams more than you are playing on Erangel in Miramar. And I think that's because of the map design, the center of the map design, the limited amount of vehicles and areas where you can actually drive through pretty successfully. So I hope that, and it seems like a lot of that is being changed with the new version of Sanhok because of the whole area around boot camp and some of the new features that are going to be on that map. So very excited to see what's in store for that. But I'll always remember Old Sanhok as I don't know, a great memory, because for people, you know, Erangel is like the original Erangel is what they think of PUBG. But for me, I think about Sanhok and how much I played this map kind of over and over again. So hopefully this video wasn't too rambly or all over the place. I just wanted to share my thoughts and say, you know, thank you to Sanhok and to PUBG. Such a great game. Can't believe how far it's come and how far I've come, which streaming and creating content on YouTube. It's just absolutely insane. And I'm very much looking forward to season 8 and hitting the 2-year stream mark. Hopefully I have a big celebration when that happens on Twitch or YouTube. And then what's in store for the rest of 2020 and eventually season 9. So thank you all for watching and listening. I really, really appreciate it. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day. And thank you all for watching. I'm Blitz5, and peace out.